Hi everybody. Today's brief video is tackling two main subjects, which is me and the others, aka people who are not me. And Recently I've been getting into some controversy by revealing a lot of intense opinions about people in the Sydney open mic comedy community. And some of those people are not pure open mic comedians in Sydney. Some of them have transcended that title and they do booked shows, or they are even considered professionals to some extent. But they're still like involved, in my opinion, with the open mic scene in some ways. And The first thing I'd like to acknowledge is this, which is that I have to be honest. I feel this intense desire to be honest. So if I were to sit here and tell you that I feel bad for what I did, that would be a lie. I genuinely do not feel bad for what I did, and I feel no empathy for the people that I talked shit about, which for this video, they'll remain nameless for this video, purely because it's obvious to me that naming people, you know, stokes a fire that I can't really put out. And I didn't just name people, I very much expressed intense, angry feelings towards people who have been upsetting me for a long time. So I'm not me right now. Well, I am, of course, me in the sense that I'm breathing my own air through my own nose, but I'm still deeply disconnected from myself. And I guess when other people hear me talk about the comedy community, perhaps it seems like it's coming out of nowhere, and then they might deduce that I'm having a mental episode, because it really did seem like it's coming out of nowhere. Like I was fine, I was calm, and then all of a sudden all of this blew up. So, first of all, am I having a mental episode? I don't think I am. I am currently hospitalized and I am receiving new medication to help me manage my intense feelings of despair and anger. And hey, if you want to label it an episode, I'm not going to stop you, but I just don't see it that way, because in my opinion, what it is I've had a lot of difficult things happen simultaneously, and when difficulty happens, I just sort of let it out. Like, I know that it might seem like a small distinction or that it's splitting hairs, but in my opinion, it's not a small distinction. It is a huge distinction. There is a very big difference between going, oh my God, I've been lashing out because of the pain and I don't even believe what I said, versus I've been in pain, and because I'm in pain and I don't care, I might as well just say what's on my mind. And what's been on my mind this entire time is that the Sydney comedy community is garbage. Like, it's a garbage community, and it really, really broke my heart because I did comedy for a long time and I dropped out and I just came back in May 2025. And after a few months, maybe longer than a few months, almost entirely a year, I just had this feeling that like there's something off. And the feeling, in my opinion, isn't entirely based on my own anxiety. It's kind of based on this feeling that people, they want to make fun of me and they want to call me horrible things like a pedophile, which I very much am not. And they want to make fun of me while also not really being like a friend of mine. And that's really upsetting to me. Like, it's one thing to make fun of me for my weaknesses and the things that are, I consider to be vulnerable. But it's another thing to do so while not even hanging out with me as a friend. And That's why I don't really feel much empathy for the people who I lashed out against. And I'm not going to say exactly what I said, but this is a mixture of Facebook statuses, somewhat public, but usually not public, Instagram posts. There was one YouTube video, which is now unlisted, and it got 70 views. And honestly, I did not share that with anybody. I did not share that video with a single soul, and it was on my Cat Batshon Leftovers channel, and that channel has 7 subscribers, I think, maybe a little bit more. And somehow that video got 70 views, and my friend called me and said, hey, people watched that video and they were really concerned. And the video thumbnail was a picture of Tung 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 Sahur, and the title of the video is, I'm not sure you're ready to hear this. So I really, even with a video that I shared with nobody, it was just up in public on a YouTube channel that hardly anyone knew about. With that, somehow it got around and it got 70-ish views. And that upsets me, to be honest. It upsets me that something that I didn't intend to be shared with anyone, I just put it out there just to feel it out. Somehow, like, people just, I don't know, they have this like third eye sense of controversy, and they just love the controversy and they get sucked into it. And to me, that it just feels frustrating that, like, for example, when I had a podcast, my most listened episode was the one where I talked to Seizure Kaiser, and he was just going off and he was really angry and bitter, and for some reason people were drawn to that. And it's like, dude, I interviewed so many interesting people as well. You know, someone who was the chairman of the Jane Goodall Foundation. I interviewed actors, I interviewed conspiracy theorists, I interviewed, you know, a screenwriter, all kinds of people. But I guess it really frustrates me when people only listen to the controversy. But anyway, yeah, it feels like right now people see me as not human. And I might be exaggerating here, but that's kind of what it feels like. It feels like I'm in a community of people who have just determined that the best thing to do for me is to block me out of their lives and completely ignore me, and just, like, you know what I mean? It just kind of sucks. And I'm angry that people think that because I'm in a psych ward that somehow that means I'm fully wrong. And it's like, I don't believe that to be true. It's possible that I was dysregulated, which I was. It's possible that I spoke in a way that was inappropriate, in the sense that I just said too much too fast at the wrong time with the wrong pacing and tone. But it's also possible that I still hit a real nerve and spoke a very real truth. And that's what I believe actually happened. I believe that, unfortunately, and this took me a while to understand, which is, it's frustrating, but here it is, okay? This is a frustrating truth about myself. When I feel like there's a truth that needs to be said, either I repress it or I say it like right away, I just blurt it out. So, for example, one of the things that I said in a video that's currently unlisted is I believe Steph Broadbridge should be exiled from comedy entirely. And if you don't know who Steph Broadbridge is, then you're one of the many, many people who just doesn't give a shit about comedy. Like, Steph Broadbridge is even among comedy fans in Australia, she's a relative nobody because she just doesn't have that many TV credits. She's been on Yeah Mad. She's had a few appearances with like the Melbourne Festival, I think. She has her own popular show, the musical that's based on Ray Gun, but it was called Breaking the Musical. But my anger towards her is real. I have real anger and frustration, and it upsets me when people think that I'm a threat to her purely because I air out my frustration. Like, at no point did I ever threaten to harm Steph or to go to her house or to do. I jokingly said that she confessed to me that she's a pedophile, which I think is fucking hilarious. And of course, a lot of people were really pissed off about that. And it's a shame. It's a shame because when people see you as like a weirdo or an outsider, you don't even get to be funny anymore, because they take everything you say as hyper serious and threatening and upsetting. But anyway, it's like being yourself, like truly becoming who you are, who you believe you were meant to be, is a long and difficult challenge. And that's why even among the comedians of the world, you'll see a lot of people who are not really being themselves. Now, I cannot comment on Steph Broadbridge's material that much because, look, she caused me pain. And because she caused me pain, I struggle to watch her stand up because it just reminds me of the bitterness that I feel towards her. So I will not comment on her material that much. But other comedians that I know personally, people like, not Andrew Hamilton. I don't think Hamilton is like that. Hamilton is fairly authentic. But people like, say, Seizure Kaiser, for example, or Fatty Kassab, that's a big one for me. They don't really have much authenticity on stage. Like, I remember watching Fatty Kassab when he was starting out, and I was like, this guy clearly knows the rhythm. He's good with the rhythm, with the pacing, with the ba 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 ba. But I came away with his set like, I don't really know you. And I watched him continue to do stand up, and I recently saw him, and he continues to be that guy, which is to say, he's funny, he has the punchlines, he's decent with the audience, charming guy, confident, all that. But it's like he's not really himself, as far as I can tell. He doesn't really reveal much because the Fatty Kassab that I know is a very, very angry, wounded man. And on stage, he just plays this like tap dancing coon Lebanese guy. Feels like a Lebanese minstrel act, if you ask me. Same with, of course, like Harry Jun. In my opinion, he's a terrible comedian, just like pure dog shit. But that's just my personal opinion. Like, obviously, he gets booked spots and he gets laughs on stage. So I'm not going to deny the reality that other people enjoy him. It's just that for me, my personal desire with comedy is to be authentic and to really say the truth and say what's happening and tap into the fucking vein. And Harry doesn't want to do that. Harry Jun, he has a job working in like some sort of game TV show where he plays games with kids. And of course, I do not want to judge him for playing with kids. That is absolutely not something I ever want to judge someone for doing. The fact that Harry Jun like interacts with children and he used to be a school teacher, that is absolutely not something I want to judge him for at all. And I respect and admire him for talking to kids. I think all children deserve healthy adult mentors. But anyway, the whole rambling thing here, it has to relate to who I am, right? And so when I air out my frustrations, I hope people understand that it isn't coming from nowhere. It isn't just a mental episode. It is the result of years and years of repressed anger that unfortunately I didn't feel safe to express. And now it's coming out, and it's coming out in a huge burst, kind of like vomit or diarrhea, just and I'm sorry if I upset you, in the sense that I'm sorry if I overwhelmed you with all this extra shit. But the only people I really feel sorry for are my friends. And I don't consider Harry Jun or Seizure Kaiser or Stephanie Broadbridge to be my friends. I'm upset at them. I'm frustrated by the way things have been handled, and maybe at some point we could be amicable in the future, but I'm just not sure about that because the industry is fairly brutal. It's fairly difficult, and I just don't know where I'm going to end up. But I really hope things go well. And I do have a friend named Kuba, Cooba, like Gooba from the 6ix9ine song, but spelled with a C. And he's kind of been helping me manage my relationships with them. He's kind of a moderate guy, and so thank you to him. If you watch this video till the end, I hope you realize that, like, I truly am not an inflammatory person by nature. I don't want to be inflammatory. I know that some of the things, many of the things that I've said have been really inflammatory and disturbing to others, but I'm just letting you know I only know that because I was told explicitly by my friend Kuba.